What's up, everybody? It's your boy JV with the first ever episode of The Bottom Line Is. And I got some shit to talk about. I don't know if anybody of you have been watching the Olympics, but let's get a USA chant. USA! 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 Yes, it's that time of every 4 years where the Olympics are here, and as usual, the USA is dominating like always. So, we're going to talk a little bit about the Olympics. There's a lot to talk about with this. Number of different topics to go over. First of all, right now, the medal count. The USA Olympic medal count, right now we are in first place. Let's go. We have 103 overall medals, which includes 30 golds, which is first overall in the gold medal division, 38 silvers, and 35 bronze medals. In second place, we got China. They're always normally a competitor when it comes to the Olympics. They are one behind us for gold medals. They have 29 overall gold medals, 25 silvers, 19 bronze, which brings them to a total of 73. So we got a nice hefty overall lead. I don't see China or anybody closing that gap. So it looks like we are going to run away with the overall medals lead. Third right now, just to give some credit to some other countries, we have France. They have a total of 53 medals, 18 golds, 14 silvers, and 13 bronze. And then in fourth place, Australia is there, which Australia actually has more gold medals than France, but overall they are in fourth place. A couple of notable Olympians who have done some amazing things and won gold medals. First of all, you have Biles, Simone Biles. She is gymnastics. She's probably one of the most decorated Olympians of all time in gymnastics. She's the GOAT. She won some more medals this year. I think 1 or 2 golds, but she's won some gold medals. One of the things I like to watch, I don't know what you guys, track and field is something that for some reason I get drawn to when I'm watching the Olympics. And we've had some pretty cool things happen with that. Quincy Hall won the 400 meter with a photo finish, one of the closest races I've ever seen. You couldn't tell who won. There was 4/100ths of a second. He won over Britain's Hudson Smith. So that was a pretty amazing race and won the gold. And then you got Noah Lyles, who this guy intrigued me because he's a character. He's one of those prima donna, reminds me of one of those wide receivers like a Terrell Owens or one of those guys who's going to put himself out there. And he guaranteed a gold medal, and a lot of people didn't think he can do it. And in the 200 meter, or in the 100 meter, sorry, which isn't even his race, in the first round, the qualifying round, he finished second in his heat, which isn't great, but it qualified him for the semifinals. In the semifinals, he lost to the Jamaican guy, and he finished second in his heat again. So he didn't win his first heat or his second heat, but he did enough to qualify for the finals. In the finals, he beat the field in another photo finish, and he guaranteed victory, and he brought it home. So as flashy as he is, he backed it up. His mouth said a lot, and he backed up what his mouth said. So I give him mad respect for that. His best event, actually, is the 200 meter, which everybody expected him to win the 200 meter. And oddly enough, in the 200 meter, which is his better race, he ended up, I don't believe he won the gold. Trey, I need my research department to look up how did they finish first, second, and third in the 200.
So first we had the guy from Botswana.
Botswana, what country?
Botswana is the country, it says.
Let me see. Botswana. I don't know where Botswana is, but I don't. Are you sure that's accurate? I've never heard of that in my life.
Says.
So they're saying El Tibago from Botswana, he won the gold
For the 200.
for the 200, and then who won second?
Kenny Bednarek from the United States.
Okay, so you're saying another United States runner beat Lyles in his own race?
Yeah.
All right, what's his name again?
Kenny Bednarek.
Kenny Bednarak. Congratulations on a silver medal, and he upset Lyles. Noah Lyles did take third
By
place.
0.08 seconds.
0.08 seconds. So it was a close race. How much did the first place guy? How much was he ahead of our other guy? By point. Yeah, he was clearly ahead. So it wasn't that close of a race. The first guy ran away with it, but we had another American take second, so we got 2 medals there, second and third. But overall, Lyles, I don't know if he has any more races left, but I mean, winning a gold in the 100, winning a bronze in the 200. You can't really complain too much about that. He backed up what he said, and happy that America pulled that off. So that, going on to the next topic, because we got some stuff to talk about. So we're getting into the Olympics. I love, right now also, we have the men's basketball team. That game just happened. We beat Serbia, which has Nikola Jokic, which is the NBA MVP. We crushed them in the preliminary rounds, but in the semifinals, which was the match to go to the gold place game to win first or second, Serbia gave us all we could handle. Serbia was ahead the whole game, and in the last 3 minutes, Steph Curry, 36 points. He took over. LeBron James, he took over at the end of the game. Kevin Durant had a big shot at the end of the game. Joel Embiid almost gave the game away at the end. You can watch the end of that. I was not impressed. I thought Steve Kerr should have taken him out of the game. But we pulled it off. Those guys got clutch, and we ended up winning that game by 4 points. So we are going on to the gold medal game. So we're guaranteed at least second, but let's be honest. With the roster that we got, Kevin Durant, LeBron James, Steph Curry, Joel Embiid. On that team, we got Jason Tatum. We have, who else is it? Tyrese Halliburton's not playing a lot. We got Drew Holiday running the point. We got Bam Adebayo. We got Anthony Edwards, who's one of the rising superstars in the league. We got Devin Booker, Derek White. We are loaded. So I know the rest of the world is catching up with us as far as NBA and basketball goes. There's a lot of these guys on these other teams that are NBA players and good NBA players. But we're talking about a group of guys that the majority of them are going to be Hall of Famers, and many of them are in their prime. If we don't win gold in this Olympics, it's going to be a big letdown. So we are going on to the gold place match, and I'm hoping and praying that we pull that off.
We're actually going against Wembanyama and Rudy
So
Gobert
we're going, okay,
in the finals.
so my research department coordinator over here, Trey, just let me know, because I didn't know, we're going up against France in the gold medal game. And if you don't know who's on France, they got a young player named Victor Wembanyama, which is the probably got the most hype around him since LeBron James, Zion Williams. He was the rookie of the year, plays for the Spurs, averaged, I think, 18, 19, close to 20 points a game, probably over 10 rebounds, close to 3 blocks, won rookie of the year. The guy's a flat-out stud. He's like a unicorn. He's 7'2", I believe. Is that what his height is? I think he's around 7'2", could be taller. He can dribble like a guard. He can shoot with the best of them. He can shoot threes. He's dominant in the paint. 7'4"? 7'4". Now, I don't know what kind of facility they built this guy in, but that sounds like a robot to me. 7'4", but doesn't play like a big guy. The guy can do it all. So he's on the France team. They also have Rudy Gobert, which is Defensive Player of the Year multiple times, I believe. one of the best defenders in the league. Is there any other notable NBA players on that team? But just those two players alone, you're talking about two. Gobert's been an all-star. He's been all defensive team, defensive player of the year.
Fournier.
Evan Fournier, he's been, he's a journeyman NBA player who's way above average, lots of NBA experience. Who else?
Nicholas Batum.
Yeah, Nicholas Batum. Yep, he's a journeyman NBA player. He's played for years in the NBA, above average as well. So, long story short, we're talking about a team that's talented and they're hungry. Everybody gives Team USA their best game, because if they can upset Team USA, guess what? That country is going to celebrate, and it's going to be one of the biggest upsets in history. This is, in my opinion, the second best United States Olympic men's basketball team since, when I was a kid, the Dream Team. And I don't know if any of you guys remember who was on that Dream Team. It was led by my man, Michael Jordan, my favorite player of all time. He is the GOAT. And then you also had on that team Charles Barkley. You had Larry Bird, Magic Johnson, John Stockton, Karl Malone. That team was loaded from Reggie Miller. That team was loaded top to bottom. And back at that time, the rest of the world hadn't caught up with basketball. It wasn't universal like it is now, where you had NBA players from each country. We were blowing every team out in the Olympics with that Dream Team by 30 to 40 points. Nobody could even come anywhere close. Now we have countries that are upsetting us. We haven't won all of the world championships and Olympics over the past 2 decades. We've won some of them. We've had some good teams. But this is the most well put together roster that we've had since that original Dream Team, because a lot of the NBA players, the superstars, have not wanted to take that time in their off season and play to represent America, because they want that time to spend with their families and rest. But this year, they wanted to make some noise and show the rest of the world that we are the dominant country for basketball. And we had a scare today, but we pulled through. So next, France is up, and I hope that we do what we got to do and we win that gold medal. USA. So now I want to talk about something that has been talked about widely across the Olympic landscape, which there's a lot of people on both sides of this argument. I have a strong opinion on what I think, but we're going to talk about women's Olympic boxing. I don't know how much you've heard about this controversy, but there's some real controversy with women's Olympic boxing. And that is because you have two women, I say that word lightly, that are competing, and both of them are guaranteed medals. They're both in the semifinals on opposite sides. And the reason why I use the quotations for women is because there's been a lot of talk that these are not actually women boxers, which gives an unfair advantage. Yes?
You're shaking the table. I'm trying to. I'll edit this part out.
Okay.
Just try not to move it around.
So that being said, these so-called women, and I don't have all the facts, but I'm going to tell you what I know and what I've heard, and some of the reports that are out there. And if this is true, in my opinion, this is a shame for the Olympics, the Olympic Commission, because in my opinion, if this is true, what I'm hearing and what people are saying and what some of these reports are, it's completely unfair and it's complete BS, complete bullshit. Let's just be honest. So you got a lady named Amin Khif, and then you have another lady named Lin Yong Ting. She's from Taiwan, and Khif is from look up Amin Khif, what country she's from. I don't have that written down. But anyway, these two female boxers in the World Championships, which happened, I don't know how long ago, but the World Boxing Championships that are governed by the IBA, the International Boxing Association, both of these women were disqualified from competing in the World Championship because they both failed a gender eligibility test. They both failed. Now, you ask yourself, what does that mean? It means the reason why they failed and what the reports are is that they both have XY chromosomes, right? And the other Khif is from Algeria, which Algeria is a country that very strict policies against transgender stuff like that. But anyway, they both failed this test that was basically a gender eligibility test. And the reason why is because they had XY chromosomes. Now, if you have XY chromosomes, that means you're not a female. And it also means that you have some form of male parts and your body produces testosterone at a much higher level than a regular female, a biological female. So when you produce testosterone at a much higher level, that is not a level playing field. So you obviously have a significant unfair advantage over other biological women. Now, the argument against this is a lot of people came out initially and said, we're letting transgender people that were born a man compete, whether they're going through changes or doing to become a woman. But they didn't do that. So let's give them the benefit of the doubt as far as that goes. They were born as women. They thought they were women. They still go through menstrual cycles and they still supposedly can have babies and whatnot. But they failed the gender. They look in the facial structure. They have a lot of men characteristics. And when they did the gender characteristic test, they found out that there was XY chromosomes. Now, this was reported, and this was actually, they were disqualified from the IBA, the International Boxing Association, from competing in the World Boxing Championships. So obviously there was testing done to prove that. But these weren't women or men, biological men, who decided to turn into and are considered a transgender woman that want to compete in the women's division. Like the coward, what the heck's his name? And I call him a him because he's a him. The swimmer. Leah Thomas, okay. All right. Leah Thomas, what, University of Virginia? Is that where? I think University of Virginia. Leah Thomas was a biological man his whole life. Then, when you're a biological man your whole life and your body grows to 6 foot plus, broad shoulders, larger bone structure, dense, and then all of a sudden you decide you want to be a woman, look, I don't care what you do. That's between you and God or whoever else. I'm not one to judge. But you cannot hide from the fact that you were born a man and that you have a significant advantage based on the fact that your body developed differently from having testosterone and everything that goes along with developing as a man. You're bigger, you're stronger, you're faster, you have more muscle density. Then, after he goes to college and was rated, I believe in college, he was a good swimmer in high school and whatnot. I'm not saying he was terrible, but in college, he was rated in Division I, I believe 462nd of all the males in NCAA, right? Then decides, guess what, guys? I am going to become a woman. So, in this transition and all these woke politics and agendas that we got going on, they allowed this man, 6'2", 6'1", to compete with the women. So overnight, he goes from being ranked 462 in the men's division to winning the NCAA National Women's Championship and being rated the #1 swimmer in the NCAA. Now, if anybody can look me in the eyeball and tell me they don't see a problem with that, then I really don't know what to tell you. You need some serious help, because that took away somebody else's dream. One of those girls lost out on medaling in the NCAA championship because biological man took first place. Let's not even get into the issues about he's allowed to go into the women's locker room with male parts. Like, they should be exposed to that. I don't know what the world's coming to, but if you think that's okay, I don't know what to tell you either, because I'm not on board with it. I'm never going to be on board with it. It's not right. But to go from 462 to winning the national championship, taking away something that these women worked for their whole lives leading up to that point, is completely unfair, and it's wrong, and it's bullshit. Nothing else that you can say about that. The bottom line is that it doesn't take a rocket science to figure out that a biological man is going to be able to dominate a biological woman in a physical sport that comes down to strength, size, muscle, speed, and you don't have to take my word for it. The proof is there. Serena Williams, greatest tennis player of all time. She admits she can't beat the top 100 male tennis player. She's smart enough to understand that the biological differences completely make her at a level where she can't compete. But she can beat all the women, but she's not going to beat the top men. She's not even going to beat the top 100 men. And they've had matches to prove that. So I don't even need to argue about that. It's just clear. It's what it is. But they're allowing these two women to box. So the Olympic Boxing Commission is allowing it. The first girl that Khif fought, she only lasted 40 seconds, and she quit. And people got on her about quitting. She said she got hit so hard, she'd never been hit that hard in her life, and she didn't know how to handle it, and she quit. Now, these two women are going to probably finish first and second in the Olympics, and they have XY chromosomes. Here's the big kicker. They were offered to take testosterone blockers to make sure that their testosterone levels were not elevated higher than than a normal woman's range. They refused. Why did they refuse? The bottom line is, it's because it took away their unfair advantage. They wanted those medals. And for some reason, the Olympics, which there's a lot of people that are speaking up against this, they made that decision because this woke culture they're trying to push these agendas on us. And I feel bad for these girls because they didn't, it's not like Leah Thomas where they made this change. And I know I've repeated this, but it's not like they've been women in their brains their whole lives. They probably knew they were different or whatnot. But it isn't like they did it on purpose. But at the same time, it's not fair to the other women, because what's going to happen why do you think they ban testosterone usage and they consider it an illegal substance, and a performance enhancing drug in any sport? Because it gives you an unfair advantage. If I take testosterone right now, in 2 weeks, I'm going to be stronger, faster than I was 2 weeks ago. And if I took myself against myself, one on testosterone and one not on testosterone, the one that's on testosterone has an unfair advantage, is going to beat the living hell, say we're boxing, out of my other self. I'm the same guy. Put me on test, this one wins. This one loses. It's not rocket science. So the bottom line is I don't understand how anybody cannot see that that's a problem, and how anybody can defend it. Oh, their passports say that they're women, or they did. I don't care. They have XY chromosome. You can argue with science, because I hate to say it, science gets used in a lot of arguments. Well, you can't argue with science. Well, have that same approach with this topic, because if they have XY chromosome, they're not biological women. Sorry. Maybe they should have a separate division. I don't know what the solution is, but even though it's not their fault, and I don't think that they, necessarily tried to cheat the system or they did anything wrong, it still doesn't take away the fact that they shouldn't belong boxing other women. Somebody's going to get hurt, and it's going to take somebody dying in the ring. We've heard about the girl, the transgender that's fighting in the MMA and cracked some other girl's skull because the strength and the power was just too much. Do we really want to go down this road where we end up with somebody dying or getting permanently damaged because we want to be politically correct on these issues because it's going to upset somebody if we speak out against it? Well, I'm going to speak out 100% against it because it's flat out not right, period. It isn't about bigotry. It's not about hatred. It comes down to fairness. That's what it comes down to. Just because you speak out against something like this, it doesn't make you a bigot. It doesn't make you don't hate the fact that I don't hate a transgender person. I don't hate these women. But what's fair is fair and what's not is not. And safety should be the most important thing and a level playing field. We're talking about the Olympics every 4 years, the biggest competition on earth. And we're going to start allowing this. When does it end? When does it end? It's a Pandora's box that we're opening up a can of worms that if we let it go down without a fight, pretty soon we're going to have transgenders, full-blown men competing against women. And what's going to happen to women's sports? And the other thing is, when's the last time you've seen any of these transgenders or any of the entering the men's division? How come that hasn't happened yet? If it's just normal and they're going with what they feel. Because they'll lose. They will lose. So you only see it going one direction, which is going to ruin women's sports. That being said, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Thank you, Trey, for helping me out with the research. If you don't like my opinions on it, I'm sorry. If you have any information, you find out that there's more information that I don't know, I'm going by what I've researched. That's all I can do. I did a lot of thorough research on it. And if you have anything to add, my mind is always open if somebody can show me something that proves otherwise. But if it just offends you because you're offended, I'm sorry, but I'm not sorry. So I appreciate you guys tuning in. I'm going to start doing more and more videos. This is just one. I have a lot of topics I like to discuss. I'm also going to do some some of my personal life stories, which I'm going to have a different name for those. I also do some, me and my son do a lot of fun things on here with sports cards. We do breaks and we're going to do some funny stuff. I also do a lot of family stuff. And I hope everybody has a good day, and I appreciate you guys tuning in to the first episode of The Bottom Line Is. Peace.